Gotta do the dishes. Gotta do the dishes.
Hey, thanks for coming tonight. It's good to see you. Grab yourself a drink, pull up a chair. I've got a story to tell you. Cheers, mate. Here we go. Welcome to Ton's Kitchen After Hours. Season 2, Heartless High, Bit 8, The Parkies. The Whiskey Tango Club Vice President was Bob Mars, same last name as ours. His younger brother Steve was around my age. He lived on the other side of town, near the Overlander pub in Cambridge Gardens. His house was next to a large park. There was nothing much there except a few benches. All the local kids hung out there like a huge gang. I started hanging with them, got to know them pretty well. I remember drinking my first ever gin that Steve snavelled from his dad's bar. It was terrible, like drinking perfume, but it did the job. Their gang was mostly guys, but there was this one really cute tomboy. She acted like one of the boys, but her perky boobs gave her away. One really hot summer's day, she invited us all to her place for a swim in her pool. The thought of seeing her in a bikini really lit a fire inside me. I rode home as fast as I could, got my swimmers and rushed back. All the guys' bikes were scattered in the front yard like they'd been thrown down in the stampede to the pool. I parked my bike and headed into the yard, and to my horror, I stepped in a huge pile of dog shit. My right foot was swallowed by a giant turd. I pulled my foot out with my thongs stuck in the steaming mound and did my best to wipe the shit off on the grass. Their tap had the handle removed, so I was stuck with a disgusting foot with shit between my toes. I thought it would be a real mood killer for me to join the pool party in such a state, so I left my other thong next to the turd thong and rode back home. A few weeks later, I ran into the girl's mother. She was wearing my thongs. Not similar thongs, my thongs. She held one foot out as if to show them off. Maybe she knew exactly who they belonged to. Maybe she'd watched the entire dog shit disaster unfold from behind the curtains. Either way, she never said a word, and neither did I. Most of the Parkies were pretty laid back, never went looking for trouble, but if it came their way, there were two big guys that most people wouldn't mess with. I can't recall the biggest Parkie's name after all this time, but I can still see his face clear as day. Let's just call him Bluey. He had ginger hair and was built like a brick shithouse. The other guy lived in Kingswood, not far from my place. His name was Angus, which made him unforgettable. His older brother was an outlaw motorcycle club member, and Angus was a mirror image of him. Always dressed like a bikie, looked scruffy, and owned an old Triumph that was always off the road for repairs. He was a big drinker, and it sometimes turned his mood a bit dark. He punched so many holes in the shed walls, it looked like Swiss cheese. He was always up for some mischief, and he never turned down a dare. Then there was Hubby. He was a bit older than us, and he was usually stoned off his nut. We sometimes hung out at his place and smoked weed. His mum was cool about it, and often made us some food for when the munchies kicked in. We'd sit around the telly watching videos of the Kenny Everett video show. I'll never forget Hubby's 16th birthday party. There was a big shed in their backyard with a pool table. We were having a great time until around 10 o'clock, when about 24 older gate crashers turned up. Hubby's mum tried telling them that they weren't welcome, but they just pushed her out of the way and invaded the party. Bluey told them to piss off, and a huge brawl erupted. Bluey and Angus cracked a few heads with pool cues before the cops arrived and shut down the party. On the way home with Angus, 2 carloads of the gate crashers pulled up and started attacking us. The main guy was Red Simpson, an older guy who kept a gang of young fit guys around him, earning him the nickname King of the Kids. Red got between me and the attackers and told them not to touch me because he knew there'd be hell to pay if my brothers got involved. Angus put up a good fight, decking at least 3 of them, but in the end he was outnumbered and they kicked the shit out of him. One New Year's Eve, I headed off to Circular Quay to watch the fireworks with Flapper, Steve, Bluey, Angus, a couple of other Parkies, and a random chick who tagged along. Me and Angus had half a trip each before catching the Interurban Express train to Central. I decided to walk through the train with a goonie of white wine and see who I could find. When we were approaching Central, I went back to our group, without the goonie and without my leather jacket. We walked to the quay and the place was packed. We decided to make our camp in the middle of the Opera House car park. We sat in a circle, passing around a new bottle of cheap wine and a few joints. As we sat there, we saw this guy run over to a parked paddy wagon and stabbed the front and back tyres, then disappeared in a sea of people. Now that was trippy. As the fireworks started, Angus suddenly announced that he needed a shit. I dared him to do it right there in the car park, promising him a case of beer next check day. He didn't hesitate, dropped his dax and gave birth to the biggest turd ever born. We stood there, pissing ourselves laughing as we watched those people rushing to see the fireworks, stepping in it and leaving brown footprints behind them. After a crazy night of partying, we caught the first red rattler in the morning, and me and Angus walked through the train. And lo and behold, I came across a guy sitting there wearing my leather jacket. I made him return it, along with the cost of a goonie. When we were pulling into Kingswood, I saw the boyfriend of the bird that tagged along with us, and he wasn't happy. So I jumped off the moving train, knocking him arse over tit. I bet he wasn't expecting that. We all went our separate ways after that, but we had bonded with each other with a bunch of crazy new memories. Looking back, I'm kind of wondering whether or not I stepped in a pile of dog shit that day, or if Angus... Oh, never mind. All right, that's it for tonight in Ton's Kitchen After Hours. Thanks for dropping by and keeping me company. If you want to hear more stories from my weird old past, make sure to follow the podcast and come back for the next episode. I'll leave the light on for you. Until then, take care and good night.
Gotta do the dishes. Gotta do the dishes before I go home.